So I'm hoping this is a quick enough video, but basically I wanted to make something really quick to show off my basic setup for OBS. Right now I'm using Streamlabs OBS, and it's like a custom version of OBS that has like streamlined features for Twitch use specifically. Um, right now I'll just do a brief overview of what the screen is showing. So I have this little sensor thing that I made just because the telescoping preview window, right now it's capturing my desktop of my streaming PC. Uh, this telescoping preview window gets really nauseating to look at, so I have it covered up for now. But if you just want to see a preview, that's basically what it looks like. It looks like a tunnel to hell. I'm gonna cover that up real quick, but so over here you have so with Streamlabs OBS, I'm just gonna cover what they give you by default. There's a window for stream information. This is where you enter the information for your stream, like your title, the title of your stream, the notification message it shows when you go live, the category that you're streaming at the moment. Uh, they have a large game database in there, so you just X that out and you type in whatever you're actually streaming. If you're just talking, for example, you could say just chatting or whatever. Um, you could use search tags, like you could add search tags to help people find your stream better. You set your stream language, and then once you're done, you just click update information. In the middle here, this big screen here is this is your work window basically. It shows what you're showing to the stream live, but also lets you modify and uh, change around and reshape some of your uh, some of your scene sources, and we'll get to that in a second. Over here's your stream chat window. Uh, this is just where you're gonna see your viewers in real time. You get to see what they're chatting. Uh, you could chat back to them like, "Hey guy," and then as you can see in my window here, I have a Streamlabs alert bot, like a little chat bot that shows up whenever a chat message is shared. Um, I have my webcam set up here as a video capture source. It's a video input. Um, I have a microphone set up as an audio input source. Um, these are just some simple ways to communicate what you're trying to communicate in a stream. But over here in the lower left is a box called scenes. So under this is all your scenes. Now a scene is any configuration of sources that help you convey whatever you're trying to convey in your stream. For example, I have an intermission scene. This is a scene that I click to that just shows like a couple images, like an animated GIF of TV static overlaid over the words intermission, please wait, and like a little Clippy the paperclip image to be weird. I have it playing a looping song that's like distorted and weird to be really edgy and creepy. But that's what I use as my intermission screen. I'll show it off real quick just to show you the transition for it as well. All right, we're gonna go back to the tutorial window. That was creepy, wasn't it? Let's not do that again. But basically, that's my little intermission scene. Um, Again, it's just a few images. It's looping audio. It's like a media capture source that's looping back and forth. And then, as you saw when I transitioned, there was like a little video. That's called a stinger, and I'll get to that in a second. But this is where you could have all your scenes. And when you want to switch to one, just click it. Just click it in there. You could also assign a hotkey to it, but I haven't, so I really can't give any advice about that. Um, But if you want to add a scene, you just click the little plus sign under scenes, and it's the add scene button. So you call it whatever, scene to blah blah blah. You can call it whatever you want to help you identify it easier. And when you create a scene, it'll show up completely blank. There won't be any sources in it. So the next window to the right of it is called sources, and this is all your content, all your assets that you want to show on your screen, your stream window. There are many different types of sources. I'll go through them in a second, but this current scene, which I have labeled as tutorial, it has an alert box, which is my Streamlabs alert box. That's a browser capture source. There's controller. Sorry, my face is really itchy. There's a controller input source, which is a browser capture source again from gamepadviewer.com. If I want to show my gamepad that's connected to it, that's how I do it. There's a chat box asset. That's also another browser source window from Streamlabs that you can configure that through Streamlabs. That's a very specific thing, though. If you want help with that, I can help with that too. But basically, there's a lot of setup involved with that. Then once you get it'll generate a link for you, and then you just put it into a browser capture source, and that's how you communicate it. Stream setup diagram. I'll show that in a second. That's my wiring, basic wiring diagram for how I wire my capture card to both my computers. Right now I'm using a dual PC setup, and you can do this with a single PC setup or a dual PC setup. Dual PC setup I recommend if you can afford it, only because you can do all your gaming and your content on one computer, send it to the capture card, and then you pick up the capture card with your streaming computer, and you can just stream directly from one computer. So basically all your processing power on one computer is going towards streaming the stream and getting it going, like getting all the assets going in OBS, and the other computer is completely dedicated to actually playing the game you're showing off. That's how I do it. But if your computer is strong enough where you adjust your settings enough where there are no bottlenecks or limited bottlenecks in your setup, then you can do a single PC. And a lot of people do that. A lot of people do a single PC setup. You still may need a capture card, but you could do window captures. You don't necessarily need a capture card. Like before I had these two PC setups, like I didn't have a capture card. I was just doing window captures. But the problem with that was my computer wasn't powerful enough to do that and output a high enough quality stream. So I had to really lower the quality of my video output to make it work with minimal stuttering. And there was still stuttering because, again, this computer is like 10 years old. I built it like 10 years ago. So that's part of the problem with it. It doesn't have modern hardware in it. But you can do it either way. I currently do it with dual PC setup. This one's called webcam setup. This is just my face cam, my ugly mug. If you want to get rid of it, bam, it's gone. But I'll show you that with these buttons here. So basically, there's an I button next to each of these sources, and you just click it, and then bam, that's the border. Okay, so you just click it, and if it's white, it's showing. If it's grayed out, it's hidden. But you'll be able to tell that in your preview window. And there's a lock object. So you can see, I wonder if you can see how my setup looks. I think you can see that there's a red bound box around my webcam because I have that selected at the moment. That just means I can transform it if I want to. I'm not going to do that because I like where this is and I don't want to do that. There's no undoing it. I'd have to put it back manually, but I'm going to hide that real quick. The border webcam, that's just a border image. It's just an image source. Telescope screen sensor. This is just me hiding the telescoping effect of that preview window in the stream because that looks really nauseating again. Stream PC screen. This is a display capture source. It's just capturing the display from my computer. Basically, whatever you're going to see on the screen of your computer is what it's going to capture. And you can also do that with, like if you have like another output source connected to the computer. But typically that's for capturing just what you see on the screen of your computer. Headset mic, that's an audio input source, and that's just the microphone on my headset here. And then a BG is another, it's a background image that I use. It's another image source. So under sources, if you click this plus sign, you get to see all of them. So audio input capture is, it's like your microphones, your input devices like that. Audio output capture, I believe that's just speaker capture, but I don't really play with that one. Browser source, this browser source is, it's, you enter in a web link and then you can size the window to whatever you want. It's really tough to interact with that page, but if you just want to show off a weird little page that you want to like have on your stream, that is what you can use. You can use browser source. It's not very interactive though, in my opinion. Color source, you could pick a color, I believe with hexadecimal numbers or with their little color chart, and then you output it to I believe you could set the size of it too. And you could probably do other things with it, but I don't really play with color source. Display capture, again, that just captures your computer screen. Droidcam OBS, this will not be in your program by default. This is a plugin I got for it, so I could beam my phone screen to it if I wanted to. Or not my phone screen, the cameras from my phone. I used to use that as a webcam of sorts because I didn't have a webcam. So that's what I used for it at the time. Game capture, I believe this captures a window of an open application on your computer, specifically games. But I don't use that because now I have a capture card. And sometimes you don't want to use that anyway. Sometimes you just want to do like a display capture or a window capture. Image, that's, you just link to an image source on your computer or a website and it'll show that image and you can transform it and do whatever. Image slideshow, I assume that's, you're going to link to a folder with pictures in it and it's going to play them as a slideshow, but I've never used that one, so I can't say how well it works. Media source, you link to like an MP3 or like an audio file or a video file on your computer and it plays that and it's as its own little object. Scene, I think this is like a picture-in-picture thing where you could show the scene inside a scene, but I've never actually used that one. Text GDI plus, excuse me, text GDI plus. That's just like a text object that you can add to your screen, and you can type the text in. You can give it some weird little effects like stroke effects. You could do like a color overlay for it. All this other type of stuff. Video capture device. If you have a capture card, this is what you would use to pull the capture from that capture card. And then window capture is it'll go through your open windows, your open programs, and it'll capture one of those windows. You could just set the program to it. Group, I haven't played with this one, but a group is basically just a little folder that you put your sources into if you want to control them easier, if you want to link them together. And deprecated, it's just the hidden items, so just text free type 2, which is another type of text object. I'm pretty sure there aren't any functional differences with it, but I think it's just the way they implement the text that's different. So to the right of that is audio mixer, and this is where you see all of your live audio sources. So right now I have 2 live audio sources. I have Alertbox. So when I double click Alertbox, it's going to show, I'm going to move this sensor, I'm going to unhide that. So it's going to show this little window here. This is the properties of the Alertbox browser source. I have a checkbox that says control audio via OBS. So if the web source has audio outputs in it, like any audio that it generates, you can control it with OBS if you have that box checked, and then it'll show up under your audio mixer. So if I unclick that and click OK, that disappears. But I want to show that because that's my alert box, and I want to know when people follow or subscribe or whatever. So I go back to that and I check the box and I see it up in the audio mixer again. You can control the volume of it with the blue bar underneath it, and then if you can mute it by clicking the little speaker button. But also if you click the gear next to it, you can go to like filters, properties, advanced audio properties. This is what I use to make sure that my stuff is working. So if you go to monitor and out, so under audio monitoring, under the advanced audio properties, you see all the audio objects that are in your scene, the current scene that you have active. You could uncheck this box that says active sources only to see all of your audio sources, but I like showing the active sources only to make sure I'm actually touching what I actually want to adjust. So under audio monitoring, it gives you a few options. If you have monitor off, it doesn't monitor anything. Monitor only, it basically just mutes the output, but it shows that you can, it like the monitor will be down in the audio mixer window, so you'll see it activating. Or you could do monitor and output, which is you get to hear it in your output source. Right now my output is headphones, which are connected to my computer. I have that set to monitor and output because I want to be able to hear when my alert box is going off. That's why I do that. And I don't do that for my headset mic because I'll hear an echo. So I don't want to do it for that. But that's basically a rundown of the audio mixer. Under scene transitions, it gives you a few default scene transitions. There's a cut, a fade, a stinger, Luma wipe. That's my custom stinger, Domog Stinger 1. Add swipe, add slide, add stinger, add fade to color. So when I go under the cog, I look under properties for my stinger. You could set your time for when the transition actually happens from scene A to scene B. You can see how to monitor the audio. You can set the audio fade style for that, like how the audio fades between scenes. You can link a stinger video, which I have. And I'm going to switch to intermission again just so you can see it. The stinger is basically just a little video that you play to shroud up the transitions for the scenes. And I hired somebody on Fiverr to make the one for me. You can make them in like Adobe After Effects or any type of video editing software like that. But it's keyed out too. So I'll show some of the scene transition. You'll see some of the background bleeding through it. This is my face cam scene, just showing off the transition again. I'm not going to stay on this scene too long. But yeah, basically that's a stinger. I have it set to that because I like having something fancy like that. You obviously don't have to do that. You could just do regular fades or cuts or swipes or stuff like that. There are a few scene transitions by default with this program. And the final window that it goes through is controls. So there's a start streaming button, there's a start recording button, start virtual camera. I've never actually played with that. There's a studio mode toggle, which toggles to studio mode, and it has a button for like a transition. Like you could do a quick transition with a cut, a fade. This is like a custom quick transition thing that it lets you transition from scene to scene with this. I don't actually play with this because I just go under scenes and I click the scene that I want, and then that's enough for me. That'll do that in the stream too, but I haven't actually played with this, so I apologize if I'm not very clear on what this does, but it's basically like a little custom transition you can do. Over here on the left, you have the preview window. This is what's actually showing in the stream, and then you have the program window, which is what you're controlling all your sources with. This is so you could basically make all your transformations to your sources in this program window. I'm going to untoggle the studio mode, so I'm just going to click off of studio mode. And then there's a settings button as well. This is your basic settings dialog box. So you have general settings. You can make a number of changes to certain features on your stream, including your output. There's a stream tab that you select your streaming service. So right now I have it set to Twitch, and you can do other streaming services here too. There's Twitter / Periscope, Restream.io, Facebook Live, YouTube, RTMP or RTMPS beta, Twitch, You could show all. I don't want to do that though. And then there's custom. You could set a custom streaming site. And I think I've already activated this for this program, but it's going to ask you for your Twitch credentials. Once you set it to Twitch, then you have to link up your account to the Streamlabs OBS program, and then I believe it'll have you validate it a certain way, either with a code or an email or something. And then once you do that, you'll be set up to stream to Twitch. And then you'd click OK, and then you get started. Excuse me. Output. This is where you could set the specs for your streaming limits and your recording. Like if you're recording videos, you set the folder to record it to. You could set the video output qualities. With the streaming, you can set your bit rate, and you can enable advanced encoder settings if you want. You have a Twitch VOD track, which I think is just for mic audio, but I'm not sure. Maybe you could assign anything to that if you wanted to. Personally, I don't use that one. I don't even know what it does 100%. The audio tab, where you can control the audio output features. You can control the options for your audio output. With video, you can control your aspect ratios and your downscale filters and that kind of thing. Just very technical video settings. Hotkeys, you can assign keyboard shortcuts or hotkeys to many different facets of this program as like shortcuts. So you can, for example, it's showing each of these headers is like one of your scenes. So for example, under tutorial, you can hide control. Like if I wanted to press the A key, if I set this to like the A key, I could show controller. Like I could show it or hide it if I just tap the A key. I don't have any hotkeys set up. I don't really I haven't gotten that far into it, but that's the way you could do it, is with the hotkeys. And then advanced, you have some advanced options that didn't fit in any of the other categories. These are very technical. I haven't honestly touched any of these. Really, the only ones I've touched were the stream tab, just to connect my account, and the output. I have the audio bit rate set to 160. You could change the bit rates here, and that could improve, or that could either improve the performance of your computer if you set it to lower video and audio bit rates, or it could improve the quality of your stream if you set them to higher bit rates. But yeah, that's basically what it is. So it's about 23 minutes in. That's a very basic rundown of my current setup with OBS. But I will show you my diagram, how I have my capture card set up. So on the left here, you have my gaming computer. That's my gaming PC. That's the PC I use dedicated for gaming, like running my games and apps and stuff like that. And then the computer on the right, which is the square-looking one, these are my actual cases, by the way. That's a Corsair Obsidian 250D on the right, and on the left is a Fractal Design Meshify C case, which is beautiful. I love it, honestly, but that's just my personal taste. You don't need those specific cases, of course. But that PC on the right is my streaming PC. It's in a Corsair Obsidian 250D case, and I've already said that. So my capture card in particular is the AverMedia Live Gamer Portable 2 Plus. And it's that red box, like triangle box that you see in the like trapezoid that you see in the middle of the screen there. So I also have two Acer monitors. They're identical right now. Well, I guess they're identical all the time, but anyway, right now I have, so my setup is currently HDMI in. Like there's an HDMI cable going from the graphics card on my gaming computer on the left into the HDMI in port on the AverMedia capture card. And then the HDMI out has an HDMI cable going from that to the my monitor on the left, which I use to see what's going on my gaming computer. Now, the only problem with this setup is that I need both computers on for me to see what's going on my gaming PC. I need both of them on. I don't have to log in with both of them, but I need both of them on to power up the capture card so I can see the output. And the output's going to my gaming computer monitor, my gaming monitor. So the monitor on the left. I also have a USB cable going from the AverMedia capture card to a USB port on my streaming PC on the right. And from my streaming PC, I have an HDMI cable going from that graphics card into the monitor on my right, which I use to look at the display of my streaming PC. So I can see the display of my streaming PC on the second monitor on the right, and I can see this. I could see the capture of my gaming PC on the monitor on the left with this setup. Um, Now there's some software that comes with AverMedia specifically. I think it's called ReCentral. You can use that to stream your captures, but I personally don't because OBS is way more intuitive in my opinion. But really, you could do it with any software you want. This is basically just an overview of the OBS setup. But that's my setup for PC. If you want to do a single PC setup, what you can do is, oh my God, sorry about that. I think it recorded a screensaver. If it did not, then I apologize. But basically, I got flustered a little bit. So if you want to do a single PC capture setup with a capture card, although if you want to do it with a capture card, what you can do is you plug an HDMI cable from your PC, your regular PC that you're going to use, into the HDMI in of your capture card, and then you do from the HDMI out of that capture card, you go directly to your monitor. So basically, the capture card is a middleman of sorts. Typically, you would just connect the monitor to your computer with an HDMI cable, but in this case, you go from computer to HDMI in the capture card, and then from HDMI out in the capture card to the monitor. So again, it's like a middleman of sorts. But if you wanted to set up a capture card with just one computer, that's how you would do it. Although, if your computer is strong enough, you don't need a capture card. You can just do window captures under your sources. You can do it that way if you wanted to, if your computer's powerful enough. But I've had a problem where, I did used to stream with just the streaming PC. I would play my games on it and stream with it at the same time. Problem was, I have hardware that's pretty old and dated in this computer. My graphics card is a GeForce GTX 750 Ti, which is really old. I have an Intel Core i3 3240 processor. I think it's a quad core processor or something, or it's a dual core processor. It's an old processor and it's a cheap processor. And then I have DDR4 1600 megahertz memory or something like that. Some really old RAM in there. So it's components for a computer that I built over 10 years ago. And what I've seen when streaming just from this without a capture card, just doing window captures and stuff like that, it really affected my stream quality. I was dropping frames quite a bit because everything was getting powered by this one computer, this one CPU. The CPU was overworking itself trying to process the game I was playing and the OBS software streaming to Twitch. So with that, you have to make adjustments to your video quality or the quality of the game that you're playing to make sure that your computer can handle both at the same time if you want to do a single PC setup. But yeah, that's basically a really quick rundown of my current setup with OBS. I'm going to hide this picture again. I'm going to show the webcam. So thanks for watching. I hope you got something out of this. I hope it didn't come off too long-winded, because right now we're going on 30 minutes for this, and I do apologize if that's the case, but I hope this does help you go in the right direction for what you want to do with your streams in OBS. And take care, and if you need any more help, let me know, and I'll see if I can help you with it.